Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been before. So today I just wanted to do like a quick introduction to my plan that I've got for October, which is relating to this deck that I recently received. So this is the Eliphas Levi by Marco Benedetti. And it's beautiful. It's an amazing deck. So yeah, I got copy 8 out of 50 from the 4th edition. So he's done 4 limited editions. The deck has like extra cards in it, and I've been reading the little booklet that comes with it to get a bit more information. Some of these come from so the main deck is from a Marseille by Bernardine Suzanne, and then the additional cards come from a couple of places. So I think that's the cards from the chronological table of holy and ecclesiastical history. Yeah, because it says about the age. So this is the 11th century of Rome, 6th century of Rome, 1st century after Jesus, from the year 1 to the year 101. So this is from that source. And then, yeah, there are some cards that he drew himself. That might be these actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not sure. 8. Yeah, there you go. So 8 cards there, including a sphinx. And I think he drew those. And they're quite in keeping with the style of the Bernardine Suzanne, from models discovered in the bibliothèque in the Imperial Library. And then, so these ones are 5 cards from the deck of Alouette from the 1830s. And I haven't translated all those. That means La Vie means life, and then yeah, I want to go through and translate. But these cards are extra, and actually for my October deep dive, I'm going to be just focusing on the main deck, which is 78 cards by Bernardine Suzanne. Oh dear, that wasn't very clever. But Eliphas Levi has heavily annotated these, and then Marco Benedetti has faithfully reproduced everything, including these the additions that Eliphas Levi made to the cards. So there we've got the Magician. Now, what I'm going to be doing is, it's called Drop'em 78, and it's being run by, I think, a few people, but what's it called? Tarot. I've forgotten. It'll come back to me. Yeah, the lady has been doing it with some other people for a few years. I heard about it first from Ina at Taproot Tarot. She's going to be looking at the Dame Fortune's Wheel, which I'm really excited about. And I thought this would be a good deck because of the amount of detail. So you do 1 card every day for 78 days, and there's a particular order that you follow. So you start at the discs and then end up at the majors. And you look at, yeah, as I say, 1 card a day for 78 days, and it starts on the 15th of October and it runs until the end of the year. That takes you to New Year's Eve. So, and then what you do is, what I'll probably do, I'm not on Facebook. I know people do it on Facebook, but I am not on that platform. So I'll probably either just do a post on YouTube or maybe a short, if I can do a short, explaining some of the detail of the cards, and hopefully on a daily basis, but obviously I don't know if I'll be able to keep it up for a whole month, whole 2.5 months. Anyway, we'll see. Yeah, but I'm quite excited because I've been looking at the extra details that I need for that. My daughter's here. Yeah, so I've been looking at the extra information that I need to understand the cards. So basically what I'm discovering is, so I know that there's Hebrew on this and I can read Hebrew, so that's okay. So this is the letter Aleph, is the magician. Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, so it goes with the number 1 card in Eliphas Levi. Now I have discovered that this is a Thoth-based deck, the Zilith Tarot, and in this one the Aleph is associated with 0, the Fool, and not with 1, the Magician. And I think that might be explained in this booklet. Anyway, there is a reason, I think, why Crowley diverged from Levi in that. So Levi had a massive influence on loads of people, including Mackenzie and Waite and Worth. So I've got a Worth book here that I've been reading, The Tarot of the Magicians, and he's included, there's like a paper copy of his deck included, which I've cut out, and that has the Hebrew letters on as well, but other than that there's not much additional detail. It's just a slightly reinterpreted Marseille. It's a really nice deck actually, but yeah, it starts with Aleph is number 1, so the first letter, which kind of fits when you put the Fool at the end of the Marseille, right, at the end of the majors. Anyway, so the Worth book's going to be, I think, quite useful. It has some sections on Hebrew letters and also on, there's Jupiter, also on astrology. And yeah, Levi made those associations as well. So on here, for example, we have, well, astrology / alchemy, right? Because that's Mercury, the element. Sorry, this is my grimoire, kind of. Yeah, so that symbol is Mercury. It's also the planet Mercury, Quicksilver. And then there's other languages on here. So there's French, which I know a little, but then there seems to be Greek, and I think that's Greek. I don't know what it says. And then I think it's either French or Latin. Astutus jeu, something about a game, astute game. And here you've got material. Anyway, prima, so prime material. I don't know what that says. And then these are associations with the Kabbalah, the Kabbalistic tree of life. So not with the sort of tree of life as understood in more traditional Judaism, but the Kabbalistic tree of life as understood in the kind of Christian / European occult traditions. So those associations are here. And another deck that I got that I thought might help me to understand, and now I don't know if it is going to help or not, because it's a little bit limited, is this one, which is the Sambucus Marseille. Very pretty edges. That's the Fool. There's the Magician. There's the Magician. And this shows the Kabbalistic tree of life. And you see there, Keter. This is Mercury, so we've seen that on this card. Mercury. Kether is the crown, and then Bina. And I think what is represented here is the path between the two, but it doesn't show the name or number of the path. So I think that might be a bit of a problem if I want to use this deck to interpret things. There, the path represented is between Kether and Tiphereth. But what I've done is I've rediscovered that I already found a tree of life diagram, which has a lot more detail. So there you can see the path between Kether and Bina. So Kether being 1, Bina being 3 is 112. Don't know why. So these are things I don't understand. The numerology of the tree of life. And then Levi also added kind of numerological values to different cards as well. Yeah, it gets a bit confusing, but I'm hoping that during the course of the next 2.5 months I'll be less confused. Oh, I've lost. There it is. The Magician. Yeah, but it does have Mercury on that path, you see. I need to kind of look into it more and figure out what's the most useful. You see, they've got the angels, the Metatron. There's Yah-He, Vav-He, Yud-He, Vav-He. That was quite interesting. So Worth also talked about Yud-He, Vav-He. Yeah, so Worth says the ancestor of all card games known in Europe, who's talking about the tarot, is marked by Kabbalistic knowledge, and because of that link with the 22. And he says they connect with arts of the occult and correspond to the letters of the divine tetragram now, the 56. And so he says Yud-He, Vav-He, that's the tetragram, which is the name of God. And it can't be pronounced because nobody knows how it's supposed to be pronounced. Interrupted, sorry about that. So Yud is 1, He cup, Vav sword, and the second He is pentacle. The 5-sided disc. So that is the association there. And then if you look here on the Magician card, Yud-He, Vav-He is written on the Magician's right sleeve. I don't know what that says underneath. It's got initiable, initiate, potentially. Archi, I don't know what that means. And then, yeah, Emmanuel. So there's a lot of associations built into these cards. And as I said, yeah, I think there's Greek, there's definitely French and Hebrew. And then there are a number of names like here, Sophie, Sibylla, and Beatrix. What's that? Something? Gnosis? La Foy. And then this says material occultauda, so occult material, as opposed to first material on the Magician. What have we got here? So it's Gimel. That's the 3rd letter of the Hebrew alphabet. This one was Bet, which is the 2nd letter. Charitas. Parturian Solum. Yeah, I'm going to have to look all of this up. There's Venus, which we know associates with the Empress. And this is Sublimatio Prima. It's just very, very interesting. and I'm going to every day go through and try and understand what these different texts relate to. Oh yeah, and the other thing is the astrological symbols. So that one, for example, is Saturn. That's a alchemical symbol. That's sulfur, I think. And then this is l'homme, is man, and then l'autorité, authority, potentia, potential, virilitas, virility. Down here you've got domination. What's there? Le magistère, majesty, fixatio, bina. I don't know what that is. So again, like, there are some things I can recognize and obviously link to the ways we interpret these cards today in some traditions. But there are some that I don't know. And I'm not sure why. Maybe that's Dalet. I thought it would be Dalet, but it doesn't look like Dalet. Anyway, I'll find out about that letter as well. Yeah. There's a lot to discover. So yeah, look at the beautiful images as well. Levi also painted more detail into the pictures, so he gave their faces this beautiful kind of pinky textures. I think the original deck by Bernardine Suzanne, the faces were white. And yeah, even the minors, when you get to the minors, you get the numerological stuff. And that I don't understand, because on these cards, for example, what's that? 5 of Wands. Don't know if this is in order. It's not in order, but it shows even on the minors, it'll show the Sephiroth where a particular minor associates. I think it might just be associated with the numbers. So this is 7, and that associates with the 7th Sephiroth. And the quarter is associated with the suit. So I don't know if you get much detail off this. But when you go to the bigger Tree of Life diagram, there are numerological associations. So yeah, so that one would be Netzach. Here you've got 7, but then you've got, this is the path between the two, and I think that's what is referred to in Levi's system, and that's 10 and 21, and there it's 13 and 24. I don't understand the numerology of it, so I would have to try and understand that. Yeah, because it seems like the planetary associations map, you see there's the moon, and that is the path for the high priestess between Keter and Tippereth. But yeah, and there's the high priestess number, so maybe that's just the number of the tarot association. But then the letters are different. So this is Gimel, which is in Levi's deck associated with what, the Emperor, not the priestess, isn't it? Or the Empress. Can't remember now. The Empress is Gimel. So yeah, so it's different in the in this Tree of Life diagram. I just need to sort out my sources. But this little booklet is really useful. There's some quite interesting information here. So first of all, Eliphas Levi himself sounded quite a cool guy. it said that so during the French Revolution, he'd been at the forefront. He'd been discouraged by the inconstancy and violence of the Christians, and he abandoned political activism, which had been driven by mysticism centered on social justice and the liberation of women. See, he sounds quite cool. And that had led him to prison several times, but then he continued his quest for universal harmony by devoting himself to the study of esoteric texts, and then he got into the tarot really heavily. His sort of philosophical approach was about it says here, presumed to contain the key to all ancient knowledge, the link with the Kabbalah could only be self-evident for those who, like Levi, were convinced that there existed an original universal truth, of which each of the various theological doctrines were branches. So he linked it to the Egyptian book of Thoth, I believe, as well, believing that there was this sort of underlying truth and that all of these systems were connected. Whereas now, obviously, we know a lot more about the Italian origins of tarot, particularly. And then there's this whole thing about we've already seen the Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, but this is another. So he was researching Kabbalah. Apparently somebody said he was the very first professor of Kabbalah in France. Somebody introduced him to the Hebrew letters, and then he started getting really into the Kabbalah system, and he came across a strange engraving representing a key, and the 4 letters T-A-R-O at the 4 cardinal points, which we've probably all seen on various decks. So the connection of this word Torah, Orat, Rota, according to a principle of letters, is a philosophical machine which, by turning like a key, reveals the secrets of the world. So he saw the tarot as central to understanding the mysteries, which is pretty cool. And obviously influenced a lot of people, including the Rose Cross and Golden Dawn. So then this looked interesting as well. So Count de M, who's mysterious, and Count de Gibelin had already noticed the equivalence between the number of tarot trumps and Hebrew letters. The Hebrew alphabet is composed of 22 letters. Count M had associated, without further explanation, some trump cards in Hebrew letters: the sun with Kaf, the wheel of fortune with Lamed, the fool with Tav, and the devil with Zayin, and death with Tet. And based on this hypothesis, Levi, I don't even know, chose to link them according to their rank. So trump number 1 with the first letter, trump 2 with the second, with the exception, however, of the trump without number, associated with the 21st letter Shin. So that's the fool. And I think that's how Crowley differed, because he associated the fool with 1. And then trump 21 with the 22nd letter Tav. So there's the list of all the letter associations. The warning: you who know and who can first know how to be silent, and do not expose yourself to the vulgar profane. Well, like that. Wow. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to be digging more into this. I won't go on much longer now. So it says the Tarot de Marseille, although the best preserved and most faithful, did not meet all his expectations, and that's why he drew the additional cards from a tarot by Vivi, which is interesting. He borrowed the Sun. Besançon, he took Juno and Jupiter. Bologna, he got the Magician. That's great. And what's that? Finally, it's inspired by Albert Durer's famous engraving Melancholia, and a representation of Adonai or Shiva. Adharanamrishvara, I can't say that, Hindu deity, to create 2 cards that do not belong to the traditional series, Melancholy and the Sphinx. So he's trying to bring together all of the different traditions in a universal key. By the means of this universal key to symbolism, all the allegories of India, Egypt and Judea become clear. Well, so, yeah, and he actually turns the horses that pull the chariot into sphinxes as well. And other people followed that, obviously. Worth in his little deck, the one I've got here, and then later, I think, Wait. So, yeah, very, very interesting stuff. So this is going to inform my my reading of the card on a daily basis, and I will post my little analyses looking at the writing and the additional symbols that he's put on each of the cards, and potentially highlighting some interesting crossovers with these other decks. Oh, there was one other deck that looked like it might be quite interesting to look at against the Levi, is the Eudes Picard, because that one has astrological associations. This is different. So the magician in Levi has Mercury, and in Picard it's the sun is the association, but the moon for the Papas is the same. There we go. And I think another few are the same as well. Venus. Oh, that's not Venus, though, is it? What's that? It's a different one. Earth. Interesting. That's Earth. But the Emperor was the same. That's right. So that was, what did we say? Jupiter, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I'll bring in these other decks as necessary, I think, to see the ways that other people have drawn from Levi, because he was so influential, and then also to see how people departed from his work as well. But I think it's going to be really cool, and if I can keep it up, it might be a very interesting 78 little shorts about the deck, or just, yeah, like I say, maybe I'll just include posts rather than videos every day, because it might get a bit hectic. But thanks for watching, everybody, and let me know if you can think of any other books that would be useful in my analysis. Some people have done deep dives already of the Levi deck. Masha from Musings by Masha did a good walkthrough and dive into the Levi, and then also Marilyn from Tarot Clarity, and those two influenced me to get it because I was so intrigued by all of the different layers in the images. It's like reading somebody's notebook, you know, but in 4 languages. It's so cool. So yeah, hopefully that's gonna work, and thanks a lot for watching, and yeah, have a nice week. Bye.